That's where AIPAC comes in. AIPAC has worked with Congress for decades to counter economic warfare against Israel. In the 1970s, we helped Congress combat the Arab League boycott by preventing American companies from complying. That boycott ultimately failed. In the 2000s, we urged Congress to make ending boycotts against Israel a condition of free trade with the United States. The Arab states of Oman and Bahrain agreed, and America now monitors their compliance. And today, we are succeeding again. As trade talks take place between the United States and the European Union, strong bipartisan majorities in Congress have set a clear standard. EU nations boycotting Israel risk forfeiting the benefits of free trade with America. This wouldn't happen without you, your support for AIPAC, and your commitment to advancing the U.S.-Israel alliance.
Hi, this is Senator Chuck Schumer, and I am here to say how proud I am of the American Jewish Congress and its leader, its great leader, friend of mine for decades, Jack Rosen, and the great job you do for Israel. We have new challenges. The world changes rapidly. Weapons are quicker and more deadly. Hezbollah loads up rockets in Lebanon, and nobody seems to do much about it. A group like the American Jewish Congress, which not only has broad reach, but is really smart and well-connected and informed in what it does, is more needed now than ever. The Israeli-American relationship is strong, but needs to be strengthened further, particularly among the young people. And again, the American Jewish Congress has the ability to reach out to these young people and tell them the story of Israel and why it's so important for the sake of America and the sake of the world that we support Israel. So I'd just like to salute Jack Rosen, the American Jewish Congress, for being so effective, so smart, and so dedicated to maintaining the strength of Israel and the great American-Israeli relationship.
The 50th anniversary of Nostra Aetate, we made a reproduction of the page from the Jerusalem Post from 1965, October 17th, 1965, with the story from the Jerusalem Post about the Vatican Council. We give this to you with great respect and friendship, considering the 2,000 years of Jewish-Christian relations that this appeared in the Jerusalem Post, and we're now observing the 50th anniversary.
I want to begin by wishing B'nai B'rith International a happy 175th anniversary. For nearly 2 centuries, B'nai B'rith has been a vital resource for the international Jewish community by advocating on the behalf of some of the most vulnerable populations and providing services to those in need here and abroad. To me, this is what it means to be Jewish. In Judaism, we practice tikkun olam, which translates to repairing the world. And as a Jew, I try to practice tikkun olam every day and fight for policies to provide Americans with access to high-quality health care and education funding and making college more affordable, services to help our veterans and our seniors live independent lives. Fighting for policies like these that help families in the middle class and those struggling to get there is just what Tikkun Olam is all about. And just as B'nai B'rith is a stalwart supporter of Israel, I keep close to the Jewish state. It's in my heart. I do whatever I can. You may know, my name is a Hebrew word. Shomer is the Hebrew word for guardian or watchman. I try to be both a Shomer Yisrael, help Israel, and a Shomer here at home to help those who need help and keep America strong. The name came about because my ancestors were guardians of the ghetto wall in Chortkov in Galicia. When they came to Ellis Island, they used their last name, in Yiddish, Shomer, like in Shomer Shabbos. It got written down as Schumer, and the name was given to me for a reason. So, for as long as there's air in my lungs, as long as I have the privilege of representing New York in the Senate, I will unflinchingly try to be your Shomer, Shomer Yisrael, and a Shomer for good deeds in America. Thank you.
How are we going to beat back the anti-Israel divestment resolution at Berkeley? We're going to make sure that pro-Israel students take over the student government, reverse the vote. This is how AIPAC operates in our nation's capital. This is how AIPAC must operate on our nation's campuses.
When I talk, I had my second book. I had a record with my second book. I think my first book sold something around the world, close to 8 million copies. My second book was not reviewed in any newspaper in North America. Now that's a record. None. No, I'm sorry. I think the guy in the Phoenix Gazette and the people from B'nai B'rith walked in and asked for him to resign. Yeah, because he's an anti-Semite. Now, I know what they do because I used to ask them to do it. I mean, when I was in the Mossad and we had a guy that gave us problems in the U.S., and he was speaking out, and he was talking like Pete talked once and said, Israel is bombing Lebanon with cluster bombs. We say, hey, who's that guy? You know? Pete Makaki, we used to call him. Yeah, which is Pete the cockroach. Because he makes a lot of noise and you can't get rid of him. So what you do is you get in touch with a guy in the station in New York or in the station in Washington. You say, tell the guys at B'nai B'rith to label him. And of course the campaign starts, and before you know it, the guy's labeled. And he's an anti-Semite. Because that's what we say he is. And that's one stain you cannot wash. Now, it shames me as a Jew to tell you that. But that's the fact. And it's wrong.
Now let's talk a little bit about Israel, because I know that that is something we all care about. Shomer Yisrael. It's one of the most important things I do, to watch, be the guardian of Israel. First and foremost, Barack Obama has been a supporter and a believer in Israel from before he was in the Senate. You can look it up and see the record. And you know who got him started in politics? Not in the presidential. That's everyone, as I said, says the right thing. But before that, it was the two leading Jewish families of Chicago. But most people don't know enough about him. So I wanted to come here and tell you this. You as my landsman, many as my former constituents. I came down here because I really believe in him, and I could not bring myself constitutionally to work hard for him if I wasn't certain that he understood Israel and was a devout supporter, and his record unblemished. Usually you can find something. They did this, they did that. When it comes to support of Israel, 100% AIPAC voting record long before he decided to be president. But let me give you 2 points where McCain, and Palin's probably worse, hurts Israel. It's a 3-letter word, who knows it? Oil. As long as we maintain our dependence on oil and foreign oil, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait will have far too much power, and that's bad for Israel. And who wants to maintain our dependence on oil? John McCain and Sarah Palin. Their view is drill and drill and drill. And even if we find more oil, it's not close to enough. We're going to continue to import it. Ladies and gentlemen, the way to take the hammerlock that's around Israel's neck off is for the United States to no longer need oil, and Europe to no longer need oil, and then Saudi Arabia is just a desert instead of a desert on top of a lot of oil. Barack Obama says, I'll drill in the short run in certain places, but over the next 10 years, we're going to become totally independent of oil. We're going to have electric cars. We're going to have wind and solar and biomass. And by the way, to show you he's not some crazy left-wing liberal, he also believes in nuclear, which most of us think we should look at and try under the right safeguards. So you know what I would argue to you? On the issue of Israel itself,
They're both good. They're about equal. They have the same good voting record, same AIPAC 100%. But when you add in the added dimension of oil and the added dimension of Iran, Obama trumps McCain on the Middle East alone by a lot. And then, of course, there's all the domestic issues, education, which we talked about. Our healthcare system, you know this. Energy prices. Everything. Everything has gone down the drain. And so our country needs change. John McCain is proud to say when he was running in the Republican primary, votes with Bush 92% of the time. Sarah Palin, if anything, is to the right of Bush. What we know of her. To the right, I'm serious. Change? No. Another 4 years of this, and I'm not sure we'll recover. John McCain and the Republicans know they can't win on domestic policy. That's easy, that's a layup. They also realize that foreign policy is no longer their strong suit. So here is what they're doing. They're trying to scare you. And they're trying to scare the Jewish community, and particularly elderly in the Jewish community, with the nasty innuendos. Oh, did you hear? He's a Muslim. Did you hear? He believes in the Koran, or he swore on the Koran. Did you hear? He's got this minister. On his minister? Well, you know, my rabbi in my Reformed synagogue in Brooklyn on one Rosh Hashanah denounced the Orthodox. He thought they were reaching too far. I didn't like that sermon, particularly on Rosh Hashanah. I didn't quit my temple, and no one said that's what Chuck Schumer believes. Well, Obama, when this minister in the last 4 years went off the deep end, and he was mostly in Washington, he quit his church and denounced the guy. And you know what? When you're sitting around playing cards or mahjong, or you're at the swimming pool, there'll be one person who'll be loud and saying this out of 10. But everyone else is sort of quiet. We're the silent majority. And you say to yourself, this is part of our ethnic genetic heritage, well, maybe it's true, when you know it isn't. Well, I'm asking you to do something here, which will multiply this large crowd tenfold. I'm asking you to have the principle and courage and honor and decency say, that is not true. You have the ability to affect our history. First, by voting, and second, by spreading the word, by rebutting these nasty, false innuendos that have all too often in our country and other countries had the day. And if you can do that, you'll affect history. As the rabbi would say, you'll do a mitzvah, but most importantly, you will be helping your children, yourselves, your grandchildren, and our country to a better future. Thank you very much. Barack Obama, Joe Biden in 2008, and let South Florida carry the day.